back. You're listening to the Community Radio Show on WLEE
News Talk 990. I was trying to get
7880990. You've been quiet too long, so
I was trying to get some synchronous,
So 7880990. 1-877-953-3990. We're talking about what's happened in the the Middle East, the Muslim world, quote unquote, over a film, and we got a couple callers that came in. So we got hold
on before we go to this.
Yeah, we got to clarify this. Because,
I just want to give my input. Hopefully, I don't remember what I said during the break. That's why I kind of try to hold my comments during the break. Short-term memory. But anywho, the previous comments about the what's the daggone word? Why did I just lose the word? Culture.
Civilized.
Yes, the way the culture is somewhat uncivilized to a certain degree within that region. I don't see that as an excuse. And the reason why I don't see that as an excuse is because the religion, and of course right now we're talking about Islam here, or even if we talk about all of the major religions that have significant ties in terms of how to deal with people, there's certain ways that you deal with yourself, you deal with your community, you deal with your neighbors, you deal with your family, and that should supersede all of the laziness and all of the triflingness that you see I just put an S on trifling. Okay. Yes, that you see in these countries, such as the way that, they, like you said, throw dirt in the street. That's not proper. When the neighbor used to throw dirt and trash on the front doorstep of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what did he do? He took it out and he didn't make a gripe about it. And this happened for a long time. This is how he picked up after himself and around the people that were around him. There's a way of handling things, and when you get into raging crowds and violent crowds, that's not Islamic, and that should supersede what you are doing culturally, because the religion is there to increase the level of your cultural civilization and make it better. And my thing is, when you look at the Middle East, you have to sometimes wonder why they're in the predicament that they're in. Why they're in the predicament that they're in, and it might be because they are not, following those teaching, those practices. I mean, in the Middle East, and you want to hit that button so bad. Hold on. In the Middle East, you have to understand, a lot of the people over there speak Arabic. They have a better understanding of the direct translations of the Quran and the Sunnah, but it's not, a lot of times you see it's not practiced. It's not practiced, and it's not internalized in a way where it's going to be beneficial to the
way
people.
We do it in America.
And not even just the way that we do it, because there's some jacked up folks in America.
I know, but too. Still, considering the fact
yes, and being that we're the minority, okay, we got a lot of callers, but you get what I'm saying. Being that we're the minority, we handle things in a certain way. Right. Being that they're in the majority, they should be better able to handle things in a way that's closer to a more conservative Islam.
All right, so we got the lines. The lines are lighting up.
Let's go. We have Anjum on line 1. Let's go.
Welcome to the Community Radio Show. Go ahead.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum. I actually wanted to say that I didn't agree about saying that this is a kind of a culture, or this is the way people are.
Right.
That there is, a lack of, I know the caller didn't want to say that it was a lack of civilization, but my understanding is that in these countries, there are 3 critical factors that are missing. Mm-hmm. One is economics. Mm-hmm. They are huge masses of impoverished lot of people. The other is, with that, of course, power, lack of power. And these people are not empowered in any which way. And the other one is education, which is the biggest one.
Right.
And so if you don't have these factors in these people's lives, then you see them react this way because there isn't a process by which they feel they can vocalize and change the system or actually get their governments to do what they want. And so they've been in this so long that even after, whatever new governments have come about, their first and foremost reaction is to take to the streets just like they've always done over decades and decades.
Right.
And we only have our government to thank for putting up all these dictators in the past who now, of course, some people will say, well, it was a good thing they had those dictators because that kept these type of people in check. Mm-hmm. But it's precisely because of those dictators who were cruel and harsh. I mean, there's part of the reason you don't see something like this in, a country where there may be someone who rules with an iron fist but allows his people a lot more education and wealth, right. And other things, is because they know that they don't have to worry as much.
Gotcha.
But here, the lack of education is a fundamental reason why these people are not going to be able to respond in the correct way.
Okay, we appreciate that feedback there, and I would have to definitely agree with that. Education is the root of economics. I think economics is the root of power. So when you take one, you kind of collapse.
And by power, system. We're not talking about military power. We're talking about just social, economic, upward mobility type of power. Stuff that we kind of take granted, I think, here.
Definitely.
Let's go to line 2, Tony.
Tony, Bungalow City.
Bungalow City, wow.
Tony, hit the button, man.
Tony, you're on a community radio show. Sorry, I'm having technical issues here. Go ahead. Welcome to the show.
All you got to do is push a button.
Yeah, how you doing?
All right,
thanks. Before I get to my point, and this is not a critical thing. I mean, I know a lot of my friends have been very suspect of it too. But when you're on the radio, you have to watch how many times you say That's very obvious. That I've counted 10 times when one of you brothers, I don't know which one, keeps saying and then the other thing I want to say was when you look at people out of the country, we can't stop looking down on folk in other countries talking about trash thrown on the streets. You got a generation right now that will drive up to a McDonald's and buy a big bag of food and soda and drop the trash right out on the ground. That's right in our own country.
Yeah, but
there is a slight difference.
Let me tell you, as someone who's traveled in that part of the world, all right, a couple of people throwing trash out the street in America, all right, is different than the entire city being littered.
How different is it?
I'm sorry, how different is it?
Well, there's somebody that comes out from McDonald's every evening and sweeps that up. No, now that is true. Now that is true. You have the ignorance, but the economic structure is different, where you don't have those abilities in place to be able to rectify that situation. Right. Where you don't have people that are cleaning up behind those ignorant people that are throwing that trash to keep sanitation low and to keep things like disease and other ailments from in an indirect way affecting the society. So over there,
I'll tell you, if the society in this country and the economics and the Wall Street cats, the big boys and politicians keep stealing money, you're going to see some people burning some cities over here.
I'm not disagreeing with you. Hopefully we don't get there.
I disagree with you, but okay. So
I think we're just at a different I think stage than what you would see in some of the third world countries. Hence the third world countries, for a reason.
Yeah, just be conscious of the many that you say.
Okay, will do. Appreciate it, Tony.
All right. I not really understood the point there. Like we're saying, like It's
kind of like we'll finish the thought, like what the thought is, and half the time you know what the thought is, but that I know you don't know, so we just
Tony just went crazy trying to calculate.
Wow.
Well, we appreciate it, Tony.
Thanks for the feedback.
Yeah, we like the feedback. We like the criticism.
Right, let's go to line 6. Halima, I think she wants to.
You just skipped line like 3, 4, and 5.
It's on line 6.
Nah, I know, man. We don't get 3, 4, and 5. Just hit 6.
You see what I got to deal with over here? Why can't you? I'm getting tag team. Halima, go ahead. Welcome to the Community Radio Show.
Thank you for the second time.
Oh, round 2, man. We're going to have to charge you.
I'm
2 for 1.
not defending the words that I use to make my point, but it's in no way am I making excuses about the cultural aspect. It just is a reality that has to be understood in regards to why they react the way that they react. As Andrew said, the reaction of the people is based on so many different aspects. And honestly, if you look back into history, here in America, the riots, Rodney King or civil rights on both sides, those reactions, and so many other riots and whatnot, those reactions were in the impoverished areas. Right. And it's just a reactive way that people who are missing certain fundamental rights, because that's really what it is, in education, in just as Andrew said. I mean, she laid it out correctly in regards to why it is that they react the way that they react. So I just wanted to say I wasn't trying to support them in any way, just to give us a little insight into why it is the way it is.
All right, thanks for calling. Clarify that. Yeah.
But hey, if you want to, misspeak again, get us some more callers in next show. Feel free.
I think she was clarifying that so that the FBI agents that were on our way to her house would turn around and go back to the office, okay, we misunderstood. She wasn't supportive. No, but what you're saying is actually correct. I think. I mean, the image that was going through my mind here to try to come up with an example here would be, I think the closest thing would have been the Rodney King, the riots in South Central, when that, and I was in California when that happened, and it was just like, why are they burning?
Cars in the street, or
or looting the only grocery store
that's in the
liquor store that's in the neighborhood.
Like,
but it's just, it's like a spring. If you compress the spring long enough and you release it, it's gonna bounce. It's gonna bounce
all crazy.
And I think here in America, at a policy level, we have to stop this. Frankly, this kind of this Orientalist, Western view that we have of these people in these other parts of the world as, they just don't understand us because they don't have freedom. Right. Well, the fact that people can go elect someone doesn't mean that that's going to provide them freedom. Right. I mean, they had elections in Iraq under Saddam Hussein. I mean, that didn't get them very, very far. But you're right. I mean, you look at a country like Turkey. It's a majority Muslim country, and you don't see things like this happening over there. Is because there is a level of economic and social, freedom and mobility that they feel that they can, they can work towards and they can move up. You're listening to the community radio show at 788-0990. We're talking about the reaction of the in the Middle East towards the quote unquote film and what it's rooted in and what the proper response should be.
Now we only got a couple more minutes, so I think maybe some final thoughts on this.
Wow, that was a quick hour.
It's always a quick hour, man. We got 2 minutes. Basically, I guess from my standpoint here, and this is your host Bakari Sirraj. Just wanted to. You know what? I'm gonna get to this in a second.
Okay, no, I would just move that around. So.
Yeah. The thing is, I guess from an Islamic standpoint, Muslims need to act in a more Islamically justified way, and that is, has to do with brain just turned off. That has to do with doing things in a way that is going to be beneficial to you. Violence is not gonna bring benefit in situations like this. There has to be, as was said, the way that you win economically, diplomatically, and politically. If you can't do that, then you have to find a way to do it. But violence is generally never the key. Right. And
then a positive thing. I mean, I think that the thing to take away from them is, if you haven't done so already, look up some of the photos, particularly out of Libya, in which the day after the tragic death of the ambassador and the 3 civil service agents, workers, is that the signs that said this is not Libya, we're sorry for what happened, and things like that. So that was encouraging. Right. But a final thought is kind of a tangential is that was a quick hour.
It was. You got the music.
We did. The music coming in, but I want to thanks to our supporters and the people out there. We need your financial support. We're down to one last month.
Yep.
That's another.
We definitely need the money.
6 shows.
Also, if you've been following on YouTube.com/community radio show, you're going to get a lot of the updated shows. I'm back in business in the studio here.
Some technical problems.
I had some technical difficulties, so I'm going to hopefully get everything uploaded. It's going to take a little bit of time, but you'll definitely see the episodes start popping up.
So this is the community radio show on WLEE News Talk 990. Talk to you guys next week.
All right. Be safe out there.